friends, welcome back to Homestead on a Prayer. Today we're in my kitchen and we're going to be doing a really exciting and easy trick, just a really effective way to make your food extra delicious. So today we're going to be making onion powder. Now, full confession, I did not grow these onions. You've all heard my stories of woe when it comes to growing onions. That's one thing that I just continually struggle with and have never really been able to be successful with. So I purchased these onions from a local farm. So I just got a handful of onions here, decent sized onions, much bigger than the ones that I was able to grow myself. So I purchased these. We're going to be chopping these up and dehydrating them, and then we're going to be grinding them into onion powder. Now, fresh onion powder, if you've never had homemade fresh onion powder, it is so much better than store-bought. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's really going to be cost effective because it's probably not really going to save you money unless you're growing lots of your own onions and you just need something to do with them. If you have to go out and purchase onions, it's not really going to save you money. But nonetheless, it is still something that I like to make at least once a year, just as kind of a little treat, just to give us that extra special flavor of fresh onion powder. Today I have yellow onions, but I've also made this with red onions, and that's really good too. That gives it a little bit more of a different kind of flavor, and then that's even more different from anything you can get in the store, because I've never seen red onion powder available in the store. I don't know, it probably exists somewhere, but I've never seen it. So I think I got 7 of these onions from my local farm yesterday. So we're just going to chop these up, and I'm going to show you how to turn them into the most delicious onion powder that you have ever tasted. So we are going to make our lives so much easier by using a food processor to do most of this chopping, but we are going to have to just rough chop these onions just to give the food processor a little bit of a head start. So I have my little broth bag. So I'm going to save the tops and the root ends of these onions plus the onion skins, and we're going to stick these in our freezer to use the next time we make broth. Now, these are really high quality organic onions, so I feel comfortable saving all of that to use. So pop the lid off our food processor so we can get these in here right as we chop. So I'm just going to chop both ends off. We're going to throw these ends into our broth bag here. Just cut it in half and peel it. Now, using these peels in your broth will add some extra flavor, some extra vitamins, some extra nutrition as well. So don't just save the roots and the ends, save the skins too. You do want to just make sure to get any dirt off of them because you don't want to be adding dirt to your broth. Now, let me just get rid of those little bits of root that came off the onions there. So I have the 2 halves here. Just gonna kind of cut it in half like this. Maybe roughly quarter each of the halves. Just stick those in here. You can see I have a blade in my food processor. And we can probably do several onions at a time. Now, I am going to say, this will definitely make your house smell very aromatic. I actually like the smell of it. I find it kind of nice. My kids, on the other hand, when I told them that I was dehydrating onions to make onion powder today, grabbed every supply that they're going to need for the next few hours and barricaded themselves in their rooms. So, depending on which side of the fence you find yourself on, you may want to run your dehydrator outside as a precaution. I'm just going to go ahead and do it inside, and then I get to enjoy some peace and quiet for a couple hours, right? So if you're at all sensitive to onion fumes though, like I am, I love the smell of onions, but they do irritate my eyes. You're just going to want to brace yourself when you open up your food processor because that's going to be intense. If I'm crying on camera with you guys, that is the reason. So just brace yourself for that as well. I actually can already feel a little bit of tingle in my eyes starting. So it's a little bit of a sacrifice, I guess, but I promise it's worth it. My kids, on the other hand, probably do not agree. I've got 3 onions cut up in here. We're just going to pulse the food processor a little bit. So you can see this is about what we want. We don't want it to be pulverized, but we just want it chopped into small pieces. The reason we're chopping it up is that is going to make it dehydrate much faster. So I'm going to have to take the blade out of here, and then we're going to get this set up on our dehydrator trays. Now my dehydrator trays have these fairly large holes. Those little pieces of onion, especially when they're dehydrated, will fall through, and this will not hold them. So what I'm going to use are these inserts here. These are actually for fruit leather. So I'm taking a bit of a risk using these because I do plan to use these for fruit leather later in the year. I'm going to run these through my dishwasher when I'm done, and hopefully it gets all of the onion smell and onion flavor out so we don't have apple, raspberry, onion fruit leather. But I'll let you know how that goes. I've used them before and I don't think I really had an issue. We're going to tempt fate again and see if it works. Now I only have 3 of these. I don't think that's going to be enough. So I also cut out a piece of parchment paper to line another of my trays with. If you don't have the fruit leather inserts, parchment paper makes a great option as well. So I have 4 trays set up. I'll let you know if that's enough. With 7 onions, I'm not sure if that'll be enough or not. But if we need to cut out some more parchment paper, we can do that as well. All right, so this is where I need to brace myself for potential tears and eye irritation. I'm just going to scoop this out here. I want to spread it pretty thinly so that it dehydrates evenly and doesn't take too long to dehydrate. And I'm thinking that our 4 trays will be fine because I've got 7 onions here, so this is just under half. We've done 3 onions so far. And this is probably going to take 2 trays. All right, I'll let you know. Jury's still out on that one. Okay, so first tray's filled. Let's get this into the dehydrator. Onions in the dehydrator, they're all dehydrating. I'm dehydrating them at 122 degrees, probably going to be about 12 to 15 hours. I've only set mine for 7 hours right now because you know me and I can never get a project done in a single day, right? We've always got to drag it out and make it complicated. So I don't want my dehydrator going off in the middle of the night while everyone's sleeping and waking everyone up with its alarm. So I set it for 7 hours. And then in the morning, I'm going to check on the onions. I'm going to run it again, probably for another 5 hours, and then maybe a little bit beyond that. So let's let our dehydrator do its work. I'll meet you back here and I'll show you our onions when they're all dehydrated. So our onions have finished dehydrating. I'm going to show you what to look for to know that they're done, and then we're going to grind them up into powder together, and we're gonna see how much we got. Okay, so here's a tray of our onions. What you're looking for is to be able to snap these in half. You don't want them to be flexible at all. You want them to snap when you bend them rather than bend. So what I like to do is I like to pull out my tray, and then I look through for some pieces that are a little bit bigger. I try to bend those and see if they bend or if they break. I've tested several and they all seem to be breaking. So that means that these are nice and dried out and done. So we're going to go ahead and fill up our coffee grinder here with our dried onions. This is not the coffee grinder that I use to grind my coffee. If you're going to be grinding something that is really strongly flavored, like onions or garlic to make onion or garlic powder or something like that, or some spices, I definitely recommend investing in a second coffee grinder so that you don't have some weird, undefined taste on your morning coffee. So we're going to go ahead and load this up with our onions and grind them all up. Going to use my canning funnel here. So we ended up with 5 trays of onions. You can see, I don't know if you can hear me talking over that paper and rustling. You can see that they shrank quite a bit while they're dehydrating. We're just gonna go ahead and peel these off the paper and get our grinder loaded up. I just wanna make sure to peel every little bit off of this because we went through the effort of making this onion powder and we wanna get all of it. So I'm gonna have to kind of break it up to get it to fit in here. I think we'll be able to do 1 tray at a time. So we've got our coffee grinder loaded up. You know what? I think I'm gonna try to get a 2nd tray in here. I think I might be able to do that. To grind this up until you don't see any more big chunks in it, and then you want to wait a minute or 2 for it to settle down before opening the top of it so that you don't get a cloud of onion powder. So once this settles, I'm just going to go ahead and load up our jar. Then I'm going to grind up the rest of our onions. So here's what we got from our first 2 trays. So our onion powder's all done. You can see we got almost a full cup jar. So we got just under a cup of onion powder from 7 medium-sized onions. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the kind of yield that you can expect from this. Now a cup of onion powder will go a long way. We will go through this fairly fast. We use quite a bit of onion powder. If we were growing our own onions and we had more onions than we knew what to do with, this would definitely be a great way to use them, and this is not a year's supply of onion powder for us. But if we were growing hundreds of onions, we would be able to easily make a year's supply of onion powder. So this is just something to keep in mind, something to try. I encourage you to try it at least once, just to really see the difference in the flavor between the store-bought onion powder and this onion powder made with fresh onions. It's just so much more oniony, I guess. It's got a really good flavor. So I definitely encourage you to try it. Let me know in the comments if you've made onion powder before, if you've made anything similar, or if you're planning to try it, let me know. If you have any other great ways that you like to preserve onions, let me know that too. I know I've frozen onions before, I've caramelized onions and then frozen them, and both of those work great. But onion powder is a great shelf-stable option, and it will allow you to add just some of your fresh onion flavor to your recipes all year long. So I hope that you're having a great day. I hope that you had a better onion harvest than I did. So incidentally, also leave your onion growing tips in the comments below because I definitely do need those. I hope your gardens are doing well, and I hope that you are preserving your harvest. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. See you next time. Bye.